Hey everyone, and welcome back to another build challenge video. My name is Tree, and welcome along for the journey. As you know, with previous videos, we have been building lots of different buildings, structures, themes, and block palettes, and pushing myself as a Minecraft builder to see what we can come up with. So, this is what we've got to work with today. Here we have our block palette for this week, so thank you very much for everyone who did vote. This week we have our netherrack, we have basalt variations, and we also have blackstone. Those are our three combination of blocks that you voted for this week in the Discord, so thank you very much for all those that did vote. The theme for today is to build a Dwarven castle, so we'll try and make that as a mountain Dwarven base, a bit like Lord of the Rings. Excuse me, cow. A little bit like Lord of the Rings, the Battle of the Five Armies, very similar to that is what I kind of had in my head when I did this. And also the biome, we just picked a mountainous biome. We picked one with snow on the top, so thanks for those in the live stream on Twitch. You guys voted for a snowy mountain build. So just going to jump straight into the time-lapse. I'll talk you through this one with me today. But yeah, I really like this one. Again, once more, thank you very much for everyone who has subscribed over here on YouTube. It is hugely appreciated. Over the past little while doing these videos, we've got a lot of support, so I can't thank you all enough. So let you leave you alone for this one. I'll speak to you during the video about the different sort of techniques and buildings that we did. However, yeah, this was a good one. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Corrupted Tree Minecraft person dude. Yeah, welcome back everybody. This is obviously now the 6th part in the series so far, and this is a Dwarven base, as I just explained. And I certainly look forward to this one. It's not really something I've done before. I have built within mountains before, but not of this scale. In regards to sort of, we normally do a little hole in the front, but we jumped straight into terraforming. So we took off a couple little bits that were at the front of the build. We managed to find a mountain that was partially hollow already, and what we were able to do is dig it out, build up the sides, and leave an open gap at the front. And really where we begin here, as you can see in the video, is just starting with the front of the walls. So just imagine like Lord of the Rings for us. If you've never watched it, give it a wee watch, it's worth it. We started off with our gradient. We used our basalt blocks at the bottom. I actually found that using the basalt block, I think it's just normal basalt, we just flipped it around and sort of applied it onto the wall, and it gave a slightly better effect at the bottom, before then moving on to the other basalt. I think it's polished basalt, and then onto the blackstone slightly further up. The gradient on this one on the wall looked really nice actually. It'll come out a lot better than I expected. But we continue with that all the way up to blackstone bricks, blackstone cracked bricks, and then finally the blackstone right up at the top of the build later on. Already starting to encompass some of the netherrack as an offsetting secondary colour. I didn't want to go over the top with the netherrack. I didn't want to use any bricks or anything like that, just to be the netherrack, because that's what was voted for, so that's what I stuck with. A little bit of iron there, iron bars just for a little bit of detailing on this one. I kind of think it needed it, and I tried to give it as much depth as I could. Building this with no plan, no practice, just build it on the fly. These are the kind of things I'm always thinking about, is how can I make it more textural? How can I make it more 3D? Having a flat surface is fine and all, but most best buildings, have a bit of depth and feel and texture to them. So that's what we tried to do with this one, at least with the roof and the windows being inset. And as you see, sort of probably later on in a minute, we start to add a lot more of the outside detailing, which I always have to remind myself, it's okay, Tree, don't worry, once you add the detailing, it'll be fine. But like every build we've done so far, it's really a case of, like, I wanted to spend more time on them, but, I only have like 3.5 hours to do these, or 4 hours at a push, during the live stream. So I'd love to add a little bit more to this one. This one's really good, especially the interior. The interior was fantastic on this one. I had a lot of possibilities, but the idea was a more sort of Dwarven mountain base. So just a very simple base idea. You have your storage and stuff, but we'll come to that in a minute. So you see the terraforming, I still continued on the left. I think my terraforming skills are getting slightly better. I think there's probably a little bit more I'd like to practice on to remove the sort of spherical shapes and the edges. I think I did a good enough job that you don't really notice it too much if you're to look at this just from a straight perspective, but I think it's okay. We could have maybe done more to the right hand side. Yeah, I use World Edit for the terraforming, and it's something that, using spheres, cylinders, that kind of stuff I'm getting more comfortable with the more I do these, and that's the whole point of doing these, is to learn new techniques. So World Edit's been a slow and steady progress. Here we have a lot more of the actual finer details. We use more of the blackstone walls to and the blackstone slabs to add more detail into the outside. I'd probably want to do a bit more on it if I could, but with the time that I had, I was like, yeah, I need to scoot on quickly. So this is where we come to the interior. So this is a bit of a slower time lapse to kind of go around to the side, but you'll see here, once we kind of progressed to the back of the build, we started to work a lot more on the interior design. And it didn't get as much love and attention as what I probably gave the outside, purely just due to time constraints. I'd probably like to spend a little bit more time on the inside of this wall, but we covered it all up, covered up the stone, and gave it the same sort of gradient feel, and used a black stone as well. After finishing up on the wall on the inside, we did a little bit more detailing, mainly just on the borders there and kind of around the top, just to kind of clean it up a little bit, so it kind of blended more into the actual interior of this cave, before then moving on to actually placing down the floor and digging out a little bit more room. I didn't know how far to dig this out, so using World Edit, I took a big chunk out of the back wall, just to give me a little bit more space to play with, and then made more of a declining floor as it went down. I did have bigger ambitions for this project, but again, it's just time constraints. If I had all week to build this, we'd probably do a lot more and build some eccentric things on the inside. But I say we're going to go to the end of it. That's probably enough, and probably enough within the time limit to get this all done on time. So we started to build some pillars to the right hand side. I actually really love these pillars. You may actually see these again in another build that I'm working on my SMP world. These pillars were fantastic. I'll probably change the colours and different things for my stronghold project, but I love those. So again, just a combination of basalt, netherrack, and also the blackstone. No difference, just using the different block palettes to try and build these turrets. You'll get a closer look here as we kind of place all 4 of them down in each corner of the room. Again, just using World Edit to copy paste and move them along to each side. If anyone would like just a copy of the pillars, again, just let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to share the schematic in my Discord if people want to just use the pillars maybe for their own builds. The schematics will be made available as well to Patreons. So going forward, starting in January, all the builds that you see here will be available to Patreons through tier 2, 3, and 4. That's it. You'll be able to download all the schematics from any build we've ever done. So you don't have to do per month. If you just want to do 1 month, that's fine. But you'll have access to the full catalogue of builds. You'll be able to download all those. Here we are, just continuing these pillars up to the roof to support the roof, and I really wanted some arches here to kind of connect it all together. So you can see the arches on both sides there between them, connecting them, and then an arch across the middle of the room as well. Just continue with the blackstone and netherrack to give that feel as well of arching. There could probably be a lot of room for height and depth on this build to add more walkways over here, but for this one today we just stuck with the arches to give it a little bit more sort of depth to the build. So continuing on from the arches, we move back to the floor a little bit here, just to kind of plan the floor coming down. We use the sort of stair blocks to create our edging, and then in the actual pathways, as the guys in the chat said, Tree, is it random enough? I just place the blocks randomly for paths, guys. That's the way it should be. Like, you can do like patterns and stuff like that, but I always feel with organics, I just go random and just place the blocks down. And I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, and I know patterns are sometimes what people prefer, but I prefer it to be a bit more random. Here we have on the actual sides as well, a little bit more random. It's just moss blocks placed down around the outside edges, bone mealed to then create a random effect with the moss up the side. Not really too much in the way of thought process for this one. It was just like place the moss down, use the bone block, that'll do. Because you want it to be as natural and organic as possible. You don't want it to make it look man-made. Although it is man-made, you want it to fit into the scenery. I'm not a big fan of people when they do builds and you can tell that it's like you've built it there and it's kind of squared off. Try and integrate your build into the scenery more. So don't flatten off the ground. Build the building into the scenery, and I think that looks way better. And that's what we did here. We kind of try and make like a bedroom sort of sleeping arrangement here into the actual side of the cliff, and just kind of taking bits off and using the scenery and the terrain to make it flow into the build a little bit more, and then making it look a little bit more artificial as a normal square house. With obviously talking about squares, the storage could be better. I definitely think, again, I think we're getting to the end of this build now, and we're just kind of running out of time. I can see the clock ticking down, and I know I had the outside still to do, I had lighting still to do, so I was like, this will do as storage for now. It's just let's call it a starter mountain base today. Yeah, we'll stick with that. So as we're kind of exiting out the building just now, you can see me putting all the lighting effects down. We use shroom lights with moss carpets to create the ground lighting effect, which I really like. I can't remember who taught me that one. At the bottom of the build, we then started to add in a little bit of a central point. Little lesson for the boys and girls, build using odd numbers, not even numbers. I made an odd path, an even path, so it was really hard to get like a distinguished central point. So I should have really remembered to build it using an odd number, which I did not. Sorry. Still continuing outside, this is now the continuation of the path. Just on the outside, again, there were so many more things I wanted to do out here in regards to like rivers, lava, custom trees. But again, I kind of ran out of time. But yeah, but thank you very much everyone for watching this one. This is a really great one. This is something, again, I might want to add to in the future. But I'll hand you over to Tree. And yeah, I'll let you talk through the rest of the build, Mr. Tree. Why, thank you very much, Real Life Tree, and welcome back. Yeah, so I'll give you just a quick little tour. I'll just run you through some of the little changes that I made after stream, just at the end as well, just kind of tidy it up a little bit. So walking in through the sort of main entrance, you can see obviously there is obviously a little bit more detailing that we kind of added in during the duration of the build, and it kind of really adds a nice depth to it. I would really like to add like water or lava or something more to the outside to get a bit more depth to the outside, but again, if you want to add that, download the schematic and add to it, that would be great. But you can see what we managed to do actually is we put a little bit more of the glow berries on the inside to kind of make it a little bit more like an interior of a lush cave almost on the inside. So that could have probably done with a little bit more adding on to it. The glow lichen as well, maybe added there too. So we'll just take a little closer look into the storage. There we go, some lighting. We added obviously the different lights to the top, the lanterns as well, just to kind of create a little bit of lighting effect. And then on the other side we had our actual sleeping arrangement, which I actually really like. Kind of integrated into the actual base of the build itself. So yeah, so this is a really good one again. I would love to spend more time on these things to get more of a, you know, detailed build, but definitely using the block palette, it gives people a lot of inspiration for size, buildings, palettes, all that kind of stuff, and lets you kind of take a look around. So yeah, but thank you very much for everyone who has obviously made it this far. If you have made it this far again, you are absolute heroes of mine. Yeah, until the next one, guys, be sure to subscribe to catch notifications for the next one. Catch us on all the socials. And if you want to get involved, just using the Discord link in the description, you can join the weekly voting for the next build. So until then, guys, thank you very much for watching here. And I'll hopefully catch us all in the next video. Right, take care, everyone. Bye.